Most students use the summer to rest, which of course is important. But if you want to get ahead, then you need to spend a little bit of time over the summer strategically focusing on some topics. Now, if your child is in year 10 going into year 11, now is the best time to lay the groundwork for top grades in chemistry. In this video, I'll share the top 3 chemistry topics your child should revise over the summer to ensure they get ahead in year 11 and be ready for grade 9 success. Hi there, my name is Sylvia Browne. I'm the lead tutor at the Impact Academy. I've helped hundreds of students boost their GCSE Maths and Science grades. Today, I'm going to walk you through the key chemistry topics to master this summer so you can walk into year 11 ahead of the curve. So first chemistry topic to master over the summer is atomic structure. Why? Because atomic structure forms the foundation of everything in chemistry. If you do not understand atoms, subatomic particles, and how atoms are arranged, then you are going to struggle with things like bonding, reactivity, energy changes, and more. And year 11 will feel like building a house with sand. So it's very crucial that you go back and you check that you understand thoroughly those basics. So what do you need to check? What do you need to revise over the summer? Go back to what is an atom? Make sure you know that basic. What are the subatomic particles and what are their charges and relative masses? What is the overall charge of an atom as well as a nucleus? Make sure you know about electron configuration. And if you get the chance, look into the history of the atom as well. And I'm going to throw something else in there if you have the time over the summer holiday, is to go a little bit deeper into learning about the periodic table and the groups of the periodic table. But if you don't get enough time for that, that's absolutely fine. Just really honing in on the basics of atoms is really going to help you by year 11. And make sure you check atoms. I find it's one of those things that students say, yeah, no, I get it. But it's only when they start to do the topics that come up later, the more complex topics, they get tricked up and they realize that they didn't know atoms very well. So if you're one of those students, do go back, check, do some practice questions and really develop your understanding. Now, to make sure that your revision is as effective as it could be over the summer, I've created a PDF guide called 3 Simple Steps to Achieve Top Grades in GCSE Maths and Science. I want you to check out that guide. You'll find it in the description down below, and it's going to help you to learn how to revise effectively for GCSE chemistry. Check the link down in the description down below for that. Now, next topic you should brush up on over the summer is separating mixtures. So separation and purifying substances. Why? Because this is something that shows up again throughout the chemistry specification. So you'd find it again in chemical changes when you're looking at acids and alkalis, as well as making salts, and also with crude oil separation. So if you've understood these quite well, when you end up getting to these topics, then you wouldn't need to spend more time revising again, and it will just make that future learning click faster, and you will not be learning from scratch. So separating mixtures is another good topic to make sure you have a good grounding on. What do you need to focus on when it comes to separation and purifying substances? Firstly, understanding the difference between elements, compounds, and mixtures. Then understanding the different separation methods, as well as why we use these different separation methods and when. So things like filtration, evaporation, distillation, and chromatography are the key ones that you need to know. And if you understand why these methods are used, it's going to help you with your application in exam questions. So when you get a question that says something like, explain how you make copper sulfate crystals, or how would we make the copper sulfate crystal, rather than saying, I don't know, I've never made copper sulfate crystals, or I've forgotten how to make copper sulfate crystals, your brain should automatically go to crystallization, and then you should automatically be able to pull from your knowledge what is the process of crystallization and how crystallization works. So understanding when and why we use this method, these methods are key Topic 3 that I've thrown in there that you should focus on over the summer before year 11 is everyone's favorite topic in chemistry, which is quantitative chemistry or chemical calculations. And the reason why I have put that there is because this is the topic that trips students up the most. A few years ago, and there weren't as much quantitative chemistry in the GCSE specification, but now more that has come down from A levels to GCSE. So it's quite a lot and it's quite hard for many students. Quantitative chemistry forms an entire unit, right? So it's not just one mini topic like a bit of atoms or a bit of separated mixture. There's an entire unit on chemical calculations. Plus, it requires mathematical skills. And you probably know by now that math skills are worth on average about 20% of your GCSE science. So you can see that combine that entire chemical calculations units plus your mathematical skills gives you a really huge impact for getting those grades. So if you master quantitative chemistry, then you're going to master your entire unit in chemistry. You're going to develop those mathematical skills that are worth around 20%. And the good thing about this unit is you're going to transfer that mathematical knowledge to chemistry and physics. And that means you will boost your overall science grades, not just chemistry. So what should you cover? Well, you need to go back and focus on things like atomic mass, relative formula mass, moles concentration, calculating masses, limiting reactants, percentage yield, autonomy, titrations, and a lot. Do make sure you check your levels. So if you're doing triple science chemistry, then there are more that you need to know. So, but if you're doing combined science chemistry, there's less that you need to know. So make sure you check your level before revising this so that you don't spend time revising too much that you're not going to need to know for your exams. Now, for calculating chemical calculations, there's one caveat that I need to throw in here. And this is just bear in mind, this is a topic that can feel quite confusing. It's quite different from the rest of the chemistry modules. So at first it can feel confusing, especially if you're not confident with maths. But don't let that put you off. Don't worry, this is exactly why we are doing this now. So by the time you get to school and you start covering it at school, then you're going to understand and all those pieces of the puzzles that you've learned are going to come together. The brain is a powerful organ in that it does require you learning, even if you think you're not learning, resting, processing, and eventually everything will come together. So I thought it's important to throw that in there. Do not get frustrated if you feel like I'm not understanding it, because the brain is working in the background. Now, I'm going to throw in a bonus topic. I know I said 3 GCSE chemistry topics to focus on over the summer. I'm going to throw in a 4th topic, and that is rates of reaction. So this topic is only for those of you who have covered and confidently covered those 3 topics that I have mentioned. If you have, and you're happy that you have, then you can go on to rates of reaction. And I've included this topic because sometimes it can feel like it's not built on anything, because the other things that you studied relating rates of reactions like particle theory and so on and so forth, that was done much earlier. And then sometimes we can forget that. So it can feel like a topic on its own. It's quite new. But it is a topic that builds on your knowledge all across the chemistry curriculum. So you might be asked about ions, formulas, balancing equation, which you'll need to pull from across the other units in chemistry. It's one of those topics that you can use to show off your knowledge in chemistry. The second thing about this topic is you start to develop and apply new skills. So practical skills is, yes, practical skills, you cover it across the curriculum, but this is one that you do so even more. So practical skills and data skills, so graph interpretation, variables, planning experiments, you do that so much more in this unit. So if you understand this unit, it would help you to transfer it across all of the other sciences. Examiners and exam boards love rates of reactions, and it is highly tested. So it's definitely one of those topics that you shouldn't skim over. Now, if you're confident these first 3 topics I mentioned earlier, then this is a topic that, as I said, I recommend that you focus on to get ahead by year 11. Otherwise, waiting until year 11 is perfectly fine. So those are the 3 key topics to focus on before year 11, 3 topics in chemistry. Now that you know what topics to focus on, the next step is to figure out how to plan and structure your time so you can actually get through year 11 without the stress, because year 11 is a very busy year. So I've created a video walking you through the exact GCSE division plan that I use with my students to help them get grade 8 and grade 9. Click now to watch the video and help you start the new term ahead. All right, bye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.